We are coming to you live from the Newsfirst Centre here in Colombo with the headline-making stories from here at home and across the world on Primetime News on Newsfirst. A very good evening. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
A very good evening to you. I am Shahid Rampati. Let's start off with a look at your headlines.
No matter what agreements are signed and with whom, I am prepared to move forward with political parties that love the country. A statement from the President. Maithripala Sirisena says that true common opposition has registered in the hearts of the people. Gold seized from LTTE controlled areas to be returned to rightful owners tomorrow. Extreme weather conditions persist. Landslide warnings issued for several districts. Spill gates of 21 reservoirs opened.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa says that irrespective of who signs agreements with each other, he is ready to join hands with political parties who love the country and move forward for the sake of the people. President Rajapaksa made this statement during an event to declare open the Ambalipitia public market today.
The Ambalipitia public market, which was constructed at a cost of 150 million rupees, comprises of 64 permanent stalls. The market also consists of 3 buildings with stages for business activities as well as other multi-purpose activities which are equipped with the latest equipment. Secretary to the Ministry of Defence and Urban Development, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, was also present at the event.
At a time when there is a scarcity of rice, we would like to remind you that we have intervened and implemented a program to sell rice at 50 rupees through Satosa. Let's all join hands together to build this society. After the 8th of next month, I will still be the president, so don't worry. This will be my responsibility. I do not need to sign any one-sided agreements for the whims and fancies of one person or another. The TNA is signing agreements with the UNP. The UNP signs an agreement with another person, and another person signs an agreement with the JHU, and it goes on like that. So ultimately all of this will look like a vine. However, today our brothers are ready to come forward and express their views fearlessly and join hands together for the benefit of those who are suppressed and in difficulty in this country.
Common opposition candidate Maithripala Sirisena says it has already registered in the people's hearts as to who the true common candidate is. He made this statement at a meeting held at the new town hall in Colombo yesterday.
The meeting was organized by the National Front for Good Governance targeting the upcoming presidential elections. It was held under the theme Maithri, Our Choice for Change. Maithripala Sirisena received a warm response when he greeted the Muslim community that had gathered at the location with the traditional Islamic greeting.
Assalamu alaikum. යහපාලනයක් සඳහා මේ රටේ මාධ්‍යර නිදහස් තිබෙනවා.
There needs to be media freedom for good governance. If there is freedom, then journalists should be able to publish what they write. Telephone calls from temple trees control the news that is published, even the photographs that are published. You can ask the ministry secretaries and the heads of departments as to whether they are able to independently take decisions employing their own knowledge, skills and experience. Customs laws do not apply to powerful persons in the government and their loyalists. The Inland Revenue Department does not have the freedom to prosecute. The Excise Department functions as per the whim of their henchmen and loyalists. There is no need for cutouts and posters. The true common candidate has registered in the hearts of the people.
CCD තියෙනවා, CID තියෙනවා, NIB තියෙනවා, Army Intelligence තියෙනවා, Navy Intelligence තියෙනවා, Air Force Intelligence තියෙනවා. Oxford Dictionary එකේ තියෙන alphabetic order එකේ ඔක්කොම જાති තියෙනවා. හැබැයි එකෙකුට හොයාගන්න බැරි වුණා මෛත්‍රීපාල රාජිතල MJ DS ලා උදේස් ෆාරුක්ලා එළියට බයින එක කවුරුද මතක තියාගන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ අපේ ඉන්ටෙලිජන්ස් උන්ගේ ඉන්ටෙලිජන්ස් වලට වඩා හොඳයි. ඒ නිසා අපි කියනවා ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඉතුරු ටිකත් අපි ගහන්නේ ඔන්න ඔය වගේම තමයි අපේ ගහන ගේමට උඹලට කිට්ටු වෙන්න බෑ කියලා මං කියනවා තවදුරටත් මතක තියාගන්න. ළඟදිපත් කළා විශේෂ
Two people who were suspended for various allegations were recently appointed to the Court of Appeal. This destroyed the rule of law. Mahinda Balasurya resigned after accepting the mistake for the shooting of labourers in Katunayaka. 2 days after resigning, he became the ambassador to Brazil and left. Another person fainted and collapsed in court when the bribery charges against him were proven. I went to Abu Dhabi once and saw that he was the ambassador there. That is the qualification. We know about people who are serving as ambassadors. If there is a qualified person, then they are beaten up. That is why Nonis was assaulted. He was overqualified.
We spoke with
the Muslims there and held meetings. When we spoke with them, there was one fact that they mentioned to us. They said it was not a Muslim Congress election and that it was a presidential election. It does not matter to us whether Hakim is there or not. If he does leave the government, then Rauf Hakim can retain some respectability in the political history books and in the history of the Muslim community.
Muslim janatawage itihase deshapalana itihase yam gaurawayak Rauf Hakimට ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන් ආණ්ඩුවෙන් එළියට ආවොත්.
Deputy Leader of the United National Party, Sajid Premadasa, says that the current government is suppressing the media.
The government is implementing a large-scale program to suppress the media so that the truth does not come out. A result of this was the cold-blooded murder of investigative journalist Lasantha Wickrematunge. Who did it? It was through state terrorism. A recent example can be cited as following. A group including the common candidate were taking part in a political program known as Satana. What happened there? The Dialogue TV and POTV platforms blocked the transmission of the program. Who did it? It was the government. Has the government provided an explanation to this? No. They say that this was due to the weather. MP Sajid Premadasa made a financial donation to the Sir D.B. Jayathilaka Welfare Society to a village in Lunugambehera.
A media briefing was convened by the United People's Freedom Alliance today. Let's take a look at some of the views expressed at this media briefing.
They are lying and trying to get the votes of the United National Party. He is saying that he will make the opposition leader the Prime Minister in accordance with Article 37 of the Constitution. And after being appointed Prime Minister, he will be given executive powers. It is quite clear that he cannot do it according to that article. See, it is quite clear. How could you undermine the Constitution of Sri Lanka this way? Could you deviate the people from the truth like this? How can they steal the votes of the people this way?
මල්ලගේ භාෂාවෙන්ම කිව්වොත් එළිවෙන ජාමයට දැක ගන්න පුළුවන් වේවි. හැබැයි මේක හරියටම අපේ ගමේ භාෂාවෙන් කිව්වොත් ආණ්ඩි 7 දෙනාගේ කැඳ හැලිය වගේ. අර්බුදකාරී වාතාවරණයක රට පවතින වෙලාවේ
At a time when the country is in a very troubled environment, it is advisable that the country's future is handed over to a group which has no direct policy and one objective. There can be various themes in this group, but here there will be friends.
රටේ අනාගතය බාර දෙන්නට ඕන. මේ රාජ්‍ය තුළ විවිධ කණ්ඩායම් ඉන්න පුළුවන්. අපේ මිත්‍රයෝ ඉඳීවි.
ඒ රටේ ඒකීයභාවය, අනන්‍යතාවය
The Constitution has directly conferred powers to the executive president to safeguard the unity and identity of the country. So it is quite relevant to the people as to what will happen to the executive presidential system. It is the parliament that has a legal right to amend a constitution. So when such an opportunity is at hand to take advantage of this right in parliament, it is an issue to us when sudden contradictory statements are being made. First hold your stance and then do what is necessary later. When the budget was presented, none of those who left the party had the self-confidence to come forward and vote against it.
A media briefing was convened in Colombo today by the Unity Through Power Devolution movement.
I should clearly state that all of us in the Unity Through Power Devolution movement who strongly believed back in the devolution of power are working towards the same objective today as well. So it is essential that the 13th Amendment to the Constitution should be enacted as the very latest. So we hope that the development as mentioned in the LLRC report must be taken to a much stronger place. This is our opinion. It is based on the opinion and belief that we urge you to vote for swan symbol and bring Maithripala Sirisena to power.
ඒ අනුව මේ මතය තියාගෙන තමයි අපි මෛත්‍රී මැතිතුන් බලයට පත් කිරීම සඳහා අපි හංසයා ලකුණට ඡන්දය දෙන්න කියලා කාගෙන් ඉල්ලන්නේ.
සුදුම සුදු හංසයා කියලා කියන්නේ වතුරෙන් කිරි ටික වෙන් කරලා බොන්න පුළුවන් සතෙක්. සුදුම සුදු පාලනයක් ගෙනියන්න තමයි.
So we chose Maithripala to steer pure governance in the country. We have granted you the opportunity to create a just rule in the country under the rule of Maithripala. Take advantage of this opportunity. But remember one thing, if this current rule isn't changed, it will be your children who will have to pay the price for this curse.
තමුන්නාන්සලාගේ දූ දරුවන්ටත් මේ පාප කර්ම තමුන්නාන්සලා ගෙනියන්න වෙයි.
මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ මහත්මයා
We do not have any grudge with Mahinda Rajapaksa or his family. I will speak if I want. So will he, and so will he. There is no issue.
අපි ක්ලීන් ෆයිල් උත් නැහැ මොනවත් නැහැ අපිට. කෝපිත් බොනවා. අවපත් කරන ප්‍රශ්න.
We are clean. We do not have files or anything. We drink coffee and we eat hoppers. But we will not panic. The future government can be a national government, a single government, or a new coalition government. Whatever it may be, priority must be given to bring about a solution to the national issue.
Convening a media briefing today, the National Freedom Front commented on the MOU between the common candidate and several political parties and organizations.
Over the recent past, Maithripala Sirisena, the common candidate, said that he will contest under the symbol of the dove, and finally he settled with the swan. On the first, he signed a pact. In it, he said that he will abolish the executive presidency within 100 days. Then on the second, he reaches another pact with the JHU. It also says that the executive presidency will be abolished. Champika Ranawaka and Mr. Sirisena, please tell us whether the agreement reached with Ranil Wickremesinghe, Chandrika Bandaranayake and the NGO is the true one, or if the pact with the JHU is the true one.
An event to provide equipment to self-employed individuals was held in Moratuwa yesterday.
UNP Western Provincial Council member S.M. Marikar presented this equipment to 47 women who are self-employed in Kadalana, Moratuwa last evening. UNP Western Provincial Councillor Seneka Damyanta and other public representatives were present at this event. They are keeping those who killed the monks in Arantalawa and bombed the sacred temple of the Tooth Relic in the government. Why are they keeping KP, who gave millions upon millions to the LTT, in the government? They thought UNP candidate would come forward for the presidential election and that they could say that he is supported by the Tamil diaspora and stick the tiger label on him. But unfortunately for them, it was Maithripala Sirisena who came in. They didn't even expect it. Now they cannot label him with the tiger label. Because when the war was won on the 19th of May 2009, the acting defence minister was Maithripala Sirisena. Speaking to reporters this morning, leader of the Democratic Party, Sarath Fonseca, announced that he will support the opposition's common candidate, Maithripala Sirisena, at the upcoming polls.
This media briefing was convened to make public the stance of the Democratic Party at the 2015 presidential poll. The media briefing commenced subsequent to religious observances and was also attended by the opposition's common candidate.
As a party, we have decided to strengthen the common candidate. We have temporarily cast aside the journey that we have undertaken thus far and have decided to join with the common candidate to save this country from the corrupt ruler. Therefore, by last evening, we had discussions last night with the main political party of the opposition and presidential common candidate, Maithripala Sirisena. They understood that the identity of a country needs to be protected. I am happy that you have decided to contest under the symbol of the swan. Around 5 years ago, we commenced this journey with a pure creature. We will continue on this journey. In my heart, it was with great pain that we had to look at the suffering and inhuman acts committed against General Sarath Fonseca after the 2010 presidential poll. We were not able to speak against it. This new journey will have more and more challenges and issues. There are some at present. Through their campaign, they will try to do worse to our campaign than they did to General Sarath Fonseca.
අපේ මැතිවරණ ව්‍යාපාරයට කරන්න පුළුවන්.
Subsequent to the media briefing, members of the Democratic Party engaged in a cordial discussion with the common candidate Maithripala Sirisena.
Leader of the Janasetha Peramuna, Venerable Battaramulle Seelaratana Thero, says that he denies certain allegations made against his party.
Certain political parties are charging that I receive funds from other political parties. But I would like to say that the Janasetha Peramuna does not get any funds, nor does it get any help from anyone or any party. Not a single cent. There was a time when we helped a certain party. But up to date, not a single member of the Janasetha Peramuna has received a single cent from that party, and neither have we asked anything from anyone. All that we ask is that they serve the poor people in the country.
More local news and international news coming away, but first, here's what's coming up on the news tonight.
A tearful goodbye to a dear friend. A moving eulogy from Michael Clark. Details later in the bulletin.
So rest in peace, my little brother. I'll see you out in the middle.
Welcome back to the news. A landslide warning has been issued for the Kandy, Kegol, Ratnapura, Badulla, Matale and Nurelia districts owing to the prevailing rainy weather conditions. Meanwhile, the Department of Irrigation says that the spill gates of 21 reservoirs have been opened.
An earth slip took place on the Bahiravakanda road in Kandy early this morning. According to our correspondent, an earth embankment nearly 40 feet high had collapsed onto the road. The earth slip put around 40 families at risk and forced them out of their homes and onto the Kandy-Peradeniya road. Our correspondent said that over 300 people spent the night on the main road. The road to the historic Bahiravakanda Vihara was obstructed by the earth slip. Newsfirst toured the area and witnessed cracks on the walls of the houses. Officials of the National Building Research Organisation arrived at the scene to inspect the area.
6 houses will have to be removed from here. The upper area is quite weak.
Meanwhile, members of 33 families in the number 3 area of the Opatha estate in Kahavatta were evacuated to safer locations due to the risk of landslides. The Galtana Ratemula road in Kandy was obstructed this morning due to an earth slip. According to our correspondent, the upcountry railway service was hampered for several hours following an earth slip in the Kitellalla area in Alla. A child is missing following a flash flood which hit the Poppite area in Ududumbura. The police said that the child was caught in the flash flood in the Gedara Oya area while returning home with his father after they participated in decorating a hall for a school concert. The missing child has been identified as a 6-year-old. The father, who was also a victim in the flash flood, was rescued. The police said that the Ududumbura police are carrying out operations to find the missing child. Several areas of the Ridigama town in Kurunagala have been submerged. This hampered vehicular movement on the Kurunagala, Kappitigala and Ridigama Matale roads. A temporary bridge which crosses from Uduvara to Subodagama in Halyala was washed away following the heavy rain experienced last evening. According to our correspondent, nearly 50 families are severely affected by this. 2 spill gates of the Victoria Reservoir has been opened owing to the rainy weather.
Addressing the media at a press briefing held in Colombo today, Brigadier Ruan Vanigasuriya stated that gold which was seized from LTT-controlled areas during the war will be handed over to the rightful owners at an event held in Colombo tomorrow.
Recently, the Army Command announced that gold recovered from areas that were under LTT rule will be handed over to the rightful owner. The event will take place tomorrow at Temple Trees. This is not something that happened overnight. This is a long-term process. However, this is over. This has been done with the aim that the event should not be delayed.
දීමට තිබෙන උත්සුකව දෙන්නට අවශ්‍යයි කියන හැඟීමෙන් තමයි මේ බාර දීම සිදු කරන්නේ.
The 43rd National Day of the United Arab Emirates was celebrated in Colombo yesterday.
The 43rd National Day of the United Arab Emirates, organized by the Embassy of the UAE in Colombo, saw the participation of several diplomats, politicians and public officials. Former President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga and Minister of Foreign Employment, Promotion and Welfare, Dilan Pereira, were present at the event.
UAE is home for a large number of Sri Lankan expatriate workers among Gulf countries and has benefited substantially from contribution made by many thousands of Sri Lankans who can be found in all sectors of the UAE economy, helping to build the Emirates along with other forces. We welcome this contribution and look forward to its continuing in the years ahead.
On behalf of the Government of Sri Lanka, I wish to express my sincere gratitude to the UAE for the firm and continued support extended to Sri Lanka at the recently concluded 25th session of the Human Rights Council in Geneva. The position taken by the UAE in Geneva characterizes the understanding of the complexities associated with Sri Lanka's reconciliation process and concentrates traditionally warm and friendly relations between the two countries.
Well, in good news for Sri Lanka, the country has improved on its ranking in the Corruption Perception Index compiled by the Transparency International. Sri Lanka was ranked 85th out of 175 countries in the 2014 Corruption Perception Index as compared to its ranking of 91 in 2013 out of 177 countries.
Sri Lanka's score on the Corruption Perceptions Index improved from 37 in 2013 to 38 in 2014. The CPI cites poorly equipped schools, counterfeit medicine and elections decided by money as some of the consequences of public sector corruption globally. The report states bribes and backroom deals don't just steal resources from the most vulnerable, they undermine justice and economic development and destroy public trust in government and leaders. In the 20th edition of the Corruption Perceptions Index, scores for China, Turkey and Angola were among the biggest fallers with a drop of 4 or 5 points despite average economic growth of more than 4% over the last 4 years. Jose Ugas, chairperson of Transparency International, said countries at the bottom need to adopt radical anti-corruption measures in favor of their people. Countries at the top of the index should make sure they don't export corruption practices to underdeveloped countries. More than two-thirds of the 175 countries in the 2014 Corruption Perceptions Index score below 50 on a scale from 0 to 100. Denmark comes out on top in 2014 with a score of 92, while North Korea and Somalia share last place, scoring just 8.
In business news tonight, Deputy Minister of Finance Dr. Sarath Amunugama says that quality is a necessity to strengthen economic development. He made this comment in Colombo today.
The 50th anniversary of the Sri Lanka Standards Institute was held in Colombo today. The SLS Golden Jubilee was held under the auspices of German Ambassador to Sri Lanka Jorgen Mohat and Deputy Minister of Finance Dr. Sarath Amunugama. Under globalization, when we are entering into competition in the industrial sector and services sector, we need to have the competitive advantage concept. For that, quality is required. If there is no quality, there will be no competition. And if that does not happen, we will not be able to reap the benefits of economic development. An exhibition was also held at the BMRCH in lieu of the anniversary.
Still in business news, Bangladesh signed a pact today to export 50,000 tons of rice to Sri Lanka at $450 a ton. Reuters, quoting a senior official at the Bangladesh Food Ministry, said this would be the first government-to-government deal.
Reuters reports that the deal was signed by Mohammad Sarawar Khan, the Director General of the Bangladesh Food Department, and Nalin Fernando, Chairman of Lanka Satosa. A senior Bangladesh Food Ministry official said the price of $450 per ton included freight and insurance, adding that the shipment of the parboiled rice would take place within 60 days. Bangladesh aims to produce more than 34 million tons of rice this year, up from nearly 33.5 million tons the previous year. Its reserves have risen to more than 1.2 million tons from nearly 1 million tons a year earlier. Now, 8% of Sri Lanka's population are considered disabled. According to the United Nations Development Programme, 80% of persons with disabilities live in developing countries.
Now, how far has Sri Lanka come in order to ensure that their rights are being protected and in giving them equal opportunities? Newsfirst Katrina Chang filed this report.
Kasunja Tunga, who suffers from deafness, and law student Kasunjit Satan Arachi, who is a victim of cerebral palsy, are no strangers to obstacles and had to fight all odds to receive an education in a society where disability rights are yet to be fully accepted and recognized.
My mother and father were both teachers. That is how I received the opportunity to continue my studies. The teachers who taught me were not equipped with the knowledge of sign language. It was very challenging to do my studies.
The last resort we have as lay people, as citizens, is to the judiciary. For us to take our case to the judiciary, there should be substantive law.
Disability rights consultant Dr. Padmini Mendis says that in order to ensure the effective implementation of the national plan and policy of disability rights, protective legislation is needed in our country.
Our problem is that we have a framework, we have the policy, we have a national policy which is rights-based, we have a national action plan which is rights-based, which is going to be launched on Thursday by the President, but we don't have protective legislation to give effect to, just to give backup to the national plan and the policy.
But does Sri Lanka possess the political will to care for its most vulnerable groups?
We take decisions according to the Disability Commission. We do not influence anyone. I work according to their own benefit, not mine. Those who are blind may have a different perspective, while those who are deaf may have a different perspective. Because of these varying perspectives, when we were putting forward the bill, it was postponed 3 times as per the request made by them in order to add more recommendations.
The enactment of a disability right bill will enable individuals such as Kasun and Kasunjit, who have faced numerous hardships, to get to where they are against all odds, to live full and enriched lives. Katrina Chan for News First.
Australian cricketer Philip Hughes has been remembered in an emotional funeral service in his hometown of Maxwell in New South Wales, attended by thousands.
Family, friends, former teammates and cricket greats were among the attendees at the Maxwell Recreational Centre.
Emotion-averse captains of an earlier age would have concealed their grief, but Michael Clarke was unafraid to show how devastated he is by the death of Philip Hughes. Australia's leader conveyed the sense of personal and national loss with a beautifully measured eulogy. Clarke's oration at the funeral in Maxwell was a lament for a friend killed by a cricket ball at 25, a summoning of the game's deepest values, and a meditation of Australia itself.
Philip's spirit, which is now part of our game forever, will act as a custodian of the sport we all love. We must listen to it, we must cherish it, we must learn from it. We must dig in and get through to tea. And we must play on. So rest in peace, my little brother. I'll see you out in the middle.
The funeral opened with an acoustic rendition of the Alphaville hit, Forever Young, and concluded with the Elton John ballad, Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me. Hughes' coffin was arrived by family, friends and teammates, including his father Greg, his brother Jason, and Australian captain Michael Clarke.
We gathered to celebrate his 26 years of life. That's what we're doing here this afternoon. To those both near and far whom his life has touched, and we pray this afternoon that today we will feel some consolation as we celebrate his life.
The passing of the 25-year-old rising star sent waves of shock and sadness across the cricket world, with thousands of tributes pouring in during the days that followed. Hughes died in hospital last Thursday after being hit below the left ear by a cricket ball during a domestic match 2 days earlier. Philip Hughes, 63, forever not out. May you rest in peace.
On sports, we look at some action from the cricket field. Sri Lanka are currently taking on England in the third one-day international of the 7-match series at the Mahinda Rajapaksa International Cricket Stadium in Hambantota.
Now, as rain interrupted play early on, the match was revised to 35 overs per side. Both teams wore black armbands to mourn Australian batsman Phil Hughes, whose funeral took place earlier in the day.
The home side got off to a horrible start, losing Kusal Pereira for a duck. TM Dershan, who built a 24-run second-wicket stand with Kumar Sangakkara, was dismissed for 23 runs. Tirena Kandambi, Mahala Jayawardene's replacement, came in next and was sent back without troubling the scorers. However, Kumar Sangakkara and then Lahiru Thirimana boosted the total, and England now face a stiff chase of 236, which is the adjusted Duckworth-Lewis target. Kumar Sangakkara also became only the fourth batsman in history to surpass the 13,000 run mark in one-day internationals, achieving the feat in his 386th match.
That's his own. If you bowl there, he'll put you...
Crikey, what a difference between...
Nicely played. 10-50. And a quality one of 39 balls.
Yeah, and a good...
6. Bottom edge and 4. That's in the air. Joe Root.
Well, England began the chase a short while ago and were on 45 for no loss after 7 overs.
Well, that concludes tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mahina Bongzo.
And I'm Shahin Rampati. Good night and take care.